money, power, and a name that became a brand. Donald Trump wasn't just another businessman. He built an empire that stretched from towering real estate to flashy casinos and even reality TV. But was it all as golden as the buildings that bore his name? Trump's business life started with a boost from his father, Fred Trump, a real estate developer in New York. With a $1 million loan, he expanded the family business into high-profile projects. The Trump Tower, opened in 1983, became the symbol of his success, an extravagant skyscraper on Fifth Avenue, home to celebrities and billionaires. From there, he put his name on everything: hotels, golf courses, even steaks and water. The Trump Organization became as much about branding as real estate. But the road wasn't smooth. Trump's ventures into casinos in Atlantic City were flashy but risky. By the 1990s, 3 of them, Trump Plaza, Trump Castle, and Trump Taj Mahal, were drowning in debt. He declared bankruptcy multiple times, often shifting losses to investors while keeping his personal wealth intact. Some saw it as genius, others called it recklessness. Then came a surprising twist. In the 2000s, Trump rebranded himself not just as a businessman, but as a TV star. The Apprentice turned him into the ultimate power figure, his "You're fired" catchphrase becoming legendary. Millions tuned in to watch him judge contestants, making him more famous than ever. But was Trump a brilliant businessman, or was he just great at selling the image of success? That question would follow him into politics, where the same mix of confidence, controversy, and spectacle would change history. For years, Donald Trump was known as a billionaire businessman and reality TV star. Politics? That was for politicians. But in 2015, he walked down an escalator in Trump Tower and changed American politics forever. His campaign started like a long shot. A businessman with no political experience? Many thought it was a publicity stunt. But Trump had something that set him apart. He didn't sound like a typical politician. He spoke bluntly, attacked the establishment, and promised to shake things up. His slogan, "Make America Great Again," tapped into the frustrations of many Americans who felt left behind. He blamed bad trade deals, illegal immigration, and weak leadership, offering himself as the outsider who would fix it all. Then came the Republican primaries. Trump wasn't just competing, he was dominating. He crushed career politicians like Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio with personal insults and aggressive debate tactics. His rallies were massive, filled with energy, chants, and sometimes controversy. He refused to apologize for his words, even when they sparked outrage. The 2016 general election was even more explosive. Facing Hillary Clinton, Trump was outspent and outorganized, yet he controlled the media with constant headlines. The debates were tense. He called her Crooked Hillary. She called him unfit for office. Then came the scandals, leaked tapes, FBI investigations, accusations flying from both sides. Many thought he had no chance. But on November 8, 2016, the impossible happened. Trump defied the polls and won the presidency. He flipped key states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, proving his message had worked. The businessman had become the most powerful man in the world. But the fight was just beginning. His presidency would be just as unpredictable as his campaign. When Donald Trump took the oath of office in 2017, he promised to run the country like a business. His supporters saw him as a deal-maker who would put America first. His critics feared chaos. Both were right. One of his biggest wins was the economy. Trump cut taxes for corporations and the wealthy, slashed regulations, and pushed for American-made jobs. The stock market soared, unemployment hit record lows, and businesses thrived. But not everyone benefited. Critics argued his tax cuts favored the rich and increased the national debt. Then came foreign relations. Trump shook things up by imposing tariffs on China, igniting a trade war. He met North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, something no U.S. president had done before, though it led to little change. In the Middle East, he brokered the Abraham Accords, securing peace deals with Arab nations. Meanwhile, he pulled the U.S. out of international agreements, like the Iran nuclear deal and the Paris Climate Accord, calling them bad deals. His most controversial policies came on immigration. He pushed for a border wall, enacted a travel ban on several Muslim-majority countries, and cracked down on illegal immigration. His hardline approach angered many, but his base loved it. Then, COVID-19 hit. At first, Trump downplayed the virus, clashed with health experts, and promoted unproven treatments. He pushed to reopen the economy, while critics accused him of mishandling the crisis. Over 400,000 Americans died by the time he left office. By 2021, Trump had been impeached twice. First over a phone call with Ukraine, then for allegedly inciting the January 6th Capitol riot. His presidency ended as it began, unpredictable, controversial, and leaving America more divided than ever. But Trump wasn't done yet. Losing an election usually means stepping aside. But Donald Trump? He wasn't going anywhere. When Joe Biden won in 2020, Trump refused to accept it. He claimed the election was stolen, setting off months of lawsuits, audits, and conspiracy theories. None of them changed the results, but they fueled something even bigger: his lasting grip on the Republican Party. Trump's most controversial moment after the election came on January 6, 2021. As Congress met to certify Biden's victory, thousands of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol. 5 people died, lawmakers ran for cover, and America watched in shock. Many blamed Trump for encouraging the chaos. He was impeached for a second time, but avoided conviction in the Senate. His Twitter account, once his main weapon, was banned. But being banned from social media didn't mean he was out of politics. Trump launched Truth Social, held massive rallies, and continued attacking Republicans who didn't support him. Meanwhile, legal troubles piled up: cases over business fraud, election interference, and even classified documents found at his Florida home. Despite all this, Trump announced his 2024 presidential run. Many thought he'd fade away, but his base stayed loyal. Even after multiple indictments, his campaign gained momentum. His grip on the Republican Party remained strong, and polls showed he was still a top contender. So, could he actually win again? That's the question America, and the world, is waiting to see. Love him or hate him, Donald Trump refuses to be a former president who fades into history. His next move? Just as unpredictable as ever. Donald Trump wasn't just a president, he was a media phenomenon. For decades, he knew how to dominate the headlines, whether in business, entertainment, or politics. Love him or hate him, one thing was certain: he made sure people were talking about him. His relationship with the press was unlike any other president. He called the mainstream media fake news, labeled journalists as the enemy of the people, and preferred to communicate directly with his supporters. Twitter became his personal megaphone, where he announced policies, attacked critics, and even fired officials, all in 280 characters or less. His tweets could crash stock markets, spark outrage, or rally his base within seconds. But the media wasn't the only battleground. Trump's supporters and critics lived in 2 completely different worlds. To his followers, he was a truth-teller who exposed corruption, fought for the forgotten, and refused to play by Washington's rules. To his opponents, he was reckless, divisive, and a threat to democracy. There was almost no middle ground. People either loved him or despised him. His presidency was filled with viral moments, from heated press conferences to off-the-cuff remarks that left the world stunned. Whether it was calling North Korean leader Kim Jong-un Rocket Man, or telling white supremacists in Charlottesville there were very fine people on both sides, his words carried weight and often sparked controversy. Even after leaving office, Trump remained a constant topic of debate. With lawsuits, indictments, and another presidential run in 2024, his influence hasn't faded. Whether he wins or loses, one thing is clear: Donald Trump isn't just a politician. He's a brand, a movement, and a force that refuses to be ignored.